Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm talking about the last episode of Listen to Your Heart. The Bachelor presents Listen to Your Heart. Okay, this is the last episode. This is the finale, and in the preview we see that everybody's freaking out and there's all this drama. There's drama with Bree, there's drama with Rudy, there's drama with Jamie, there's drama with all of them. I don't even have time to tell you how much drama there is that they showed us in the preview. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so this episode first starts off with them going to Nashville, and first of all, they're taking a private plane in Nashville, so I mean, they're living their best life. Next, I want to talk about the flashbacks, right? So there were these flashbacks that they had to show the development of each relationship. And here's my thing, right? We don't need to see that. We've already watched the 5 episodes before this. These flashbacks that they were doing, they weren't cutting it for me. They were just really annoying, like kind of like on that season with that girl who said some stuff she shouldn't have been saying. They like replayed a bunch of scenes from like these guys and the Luke P drama and all that other stuff, and I was like, we just saw this, why are we seeing it again? Next we have Chris Harrison, and he tells us the couples are doing 2 songs this time, and then there's one final date with a fantasy suite, and everyone's like, oh, fantasy suite. And at this point I'm like, I mean, okay, but y'all had a private tour bus, so it's not that deep. And last but not least, Chris Harrison stresses the importance of being on the same page for these relationships. And obviously at this point, Rudy and Matt are like, oh, this is probably about us. They are staying at the Hermitage Hotel, and as soon as I saw those words, Hermitage, I was taken back to freshman year of high school when we were doing Hermitage, and I wasn't in the play, but I saw the play, and it just took me back. It took me back. So when they get to the hotel, Matt tells Rudy we need to talk, and already I'm like, okay. I mean, last episode, y'all seemed to figure it out, so I'm confused as to what else. Well, I know what else. They need to talk about their relationship and what stage they're at, because they never actually talked about it. They just, like, skirted around that, you know what I'm saying? So they get the songs. For some reason, the producers gave Rudy and Matt Saving All My Love by Whitney Houston. Why would you give them a Whitney Houston song? No, you can't do it. You're setting them up for failure by giving them a Whitney Houston song. Just because Rudy has a great voice doesn't mean, oh, she's Whitney Houston. No, set them up for failure. You can't do that. I have a theory that they gave it to them knowing they wouldn't have lasted, but I digress. So now we're gonna cut to Rudy and Matt finally talking about their relationship, and Rudy wants to know where his head is at, and he's like, singing with you has been the best musical experience in my life. And I was like, musical experience or experience? Are you just using her for the music, or do you actually care about her? But she's also thinking about. And here's my biggest thing. Matt is comparing his relationship to others. And that's what's getting them into this crutch. Like, and I think that is an issue that Bachelor world has, right? So a lot of times they're like, oh, because we're on this time crunch, you have to be the most vulnerable with me and the most open with me, and Here's the thing. Relationships take time to develop. If you're not there, that's not saying anything about your relationship other than you're not there. It's not saying you'll never get there. You know what I'm saying? It takes time to develop these relationships. So to compare yourself to others is setting yourself up for failure. And so he's like, we're not in the same space as they are. Of course you're not, because you're not them, okay? You're not. And then Rudy is like, so why we even come to Nashville? Like, lol. She's like, if you felt this way and you felt like you were gonna have to fake it with me, you never should have come to Nashville. Like, we should just stop. And so for me, I'm like, this just completely contradicts what he said last episode about really caring for her and trying to get there. And I'm just like, oh, whatever, this is not going well. And then she walks off crying. And not only that, but before, she's like literally crying on the couch, and he's just sitting there like, You're not gonna comfort her, put your arm around her. What are you doing? You're just gonna do that? Wow. It's crazy out here. It's really crazy out here. When she finally comes out and he goes to get her, He tells her that he actually cares about her. And yeah, it seems like they're breaking up, and then, yep, they're leaving. And I'm kind of glad they're leaving just because I didn't want them to butcher. And I'm kind of glad they're leaving because I didn't want them to butcher Whitney. But I'm also upset they're leaving because I don't care about the other two couples. And while they leave, the producers are trickling in that Tennessee whiskey that we heard last time. And I was like, oh, it's crazy. So my biggest thing is, he didn't tell Natasha how he felt about her until the end. You cannot do that in a relationship and expect for it to succeed. It just doesn't happen. And so I just think that Rudy and Natasha should just form a girl duo and sing together. Now we're at the final day, so let's talk about the final date. So Jamie and Trevor, on their date, they talk, and she opens up about how she's been struggling with self-worth, and he opens up about how on stage she sometimes felt nervous, and how when they perform, that nervousness has gradually gone away. And Jamie says when they perform, she only sees him, and it's going pretty well. And then, yeah, they're solid. They are solid. So then let's transition over to Bree and Chris, right? So he says he can't see a future without her, and that he would hate to wake up without her. Okay, but when she's talking, she's literally using the past tense. I noticed this, right? She was basically like, I enjoyed doing, like, it was in a past tense when it should have been in a present tense. Like, I think when people use past tense, it's sometimes a sign that their feelings have changed, right? So if she's like, oh, I cared for you, rather than I care for you. I can't remember exactly what she said because I didn't write it down. I mean, didn't have time. Then you can see the emotions are changing. So when she used past tense, I was like, oh, past tense. She's using past tense now. Oh. But it turns out to not even be that much. So here's my thing. This is my issue, I guess, once again. So Bree and Chris decide they're not going to the fantasy suite because they aren't ready for physical intimacy. I don't understand what that means. You can't go to the fantasy suite. You don't have to hook up if you don't want to hook up. You could just talk and sit there, because what we later saw is that the next day they had this weird juju going on, whereas Jamie and Trevor were fine. They were chilling. So like I previously said before, the next day Bree and Chris are at rehearsal and it's not going well. Like, they're singing different parts, they're off, it's not really working. I was like, there is just such a disconnect all of a sudden. At the performances. Okay, Chris Harrison comes out and says, hey, what's up? What do you do? And then he introduces the judges. We have Kaylin Bristow and Jason Tarek. And I have to shout out Jason because I saw that he was at the Big House one day. So go Blue. Tay Diggs is there, Jewel is there, and also Rita Wilson. So first up, let's just get straight into the songs. We have Jamie and Trevor. And the first song, I don't really know what the first song is. Wish they would have told me, because I don't know. I thought it was okay. This is merely okay. I didn't feel too swayed by it. Their relationship was cute, but the song in itself was just okay for me. They did introduce the song Speechless, and I felt that Speechless was a better song for them just because of vocal range and the things you can do with the song that they did. So I thought that song was better for them. Now, when we talk about afterwards, Tay Diggs actually said that they leaned on each other, and he was like, that can be a crutch because I want to see that y'all are strong, like separate somewhat, because y'all have the talent to be like, you don't need to lean on each other for a crutch. And then Caitlin's like, did fantasy suites happen? And everyone's like, oh my gosh, oh no, T. And I was like, y'all calm down. It's not that deep. And Jason also mentions how Trevor is leaning on Jamie, and he thought that was sweet. And I was like, yeah, it's sweet. Okay, we get it. Also, I do have to say that I respect Chris Harrison for giving the band their props, for giving the people that worked behind the scenes on the stage, the people that were giving the support for the performers. Yes, give them their credit because they deserve it. Did you not see how hard they worked to make these songs enjoyable? They deserve that credit, and I'm glad Chris Harrison said something on live television and not just at the performance and then they cut it out. The producers cut it out. I'm glad they kept that in because it shows you that it's important to respect the tech. The last performance is Chris and Bree. So they start singing, and the thing that took me out was they the camera like flashes to this girl in the audience, and she's like pretending like she knows the lyrics. I'm like, girl, you know you don't know them lyrics. Oh my gosh. I was like, wow, she really is pretending like she knows these lyrics. Oh. Here's my thing. The audience is easily amused and entertained. And that is with both performances, right? So both performances, I would say, were okay. Like, there was nothing revolutionary about it, nothing that made me swoon or feel anything emotionally. They were just okay to me. And the fact that the audience was like, oh, I was like, calm down. It's not, I mean, maybe it's because the only concerts I've seen are Big Time Rush and Beyonce, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the support that Brie and Chris had backing them up, I feel like that was the only reason why Give Me Love sounded probably of the best song, because you have that background, like you have that epic buildup given to you by the support system that they had behind them. So, and then when Tay said he would pay money, I was like, oh, you would pay money to see that? And then someone else mentioned that Brie always seems to lack this energy in her body, like she has this energy in her eyes, but it doesn't translate to the rest of her body. And I was like, that's what it is. That's why I never liked these performances, because she's so lacking of energy. And so here I am thinking like that because Brie and Chris got, I would say, the most edited criticism in, I was like, I guess it's gonna be Jamie and Trevor. But also because I was spoiled, I knew who it was going to be. Chris Harrison comes out and he says, the judges are gonna make the decision now, and we're gonna do the rose ceremony now. And to be honest, I didn't care. I really don't care. Like, for me, Jamie and Trevor, Brie and Chris, they're on the same level. Nothing, I really didn't care. There was nothing that made me feel like Brie or Chris had a better performance, that Trevor and Jamie had a better performance. Their performances were the same on the level, and I was just like, I really don't care. I really don't care. To say that I care is a lie. And so Brie and Chris win, I guess. So, I mean, woo, that was your fave. Okay, this could just be me, but the fact that she literally took her shoes off, she took her shoes off, went outside with her shoes still off, walked onto the tour bus with the dirt on the bottom of her feet from outside on the tour bus. Maybe that's just me, but that's not my thing. So then we flash forward to them singing some song they had sung before, and you know, it is what it is. Overall, I'm unimpressed. The finale was trash. Oh my God, that sounds terrible. The finale was it was lackluster. That's a good word. It was lackluster. And here's what I want to say. I'm going to say it's lackluster because Rudy and Matt, it was kind of just like, when is that ticking time bomb going to go off? But it wasn't like oh my gosh, I have to tune in. It was like, okay. If they're going to leave, what's left? Because I don't really care about these other two. And then the drama that seemed to result with Brie and Chris, I was like, no, I don't care. So my suggestions, if any of the producers are watching this, which they're not, but if they are, here's what I would say. I would say, number one, we need to get a wider range of singers. A lot of these singers on this show were giving me straight country. Number two, I would say maybe by the second performance, let the couple decide what song they want to sing. Number three, I guess I want to see more relationships being formed. I don't know. I don't know. This is not my fave. This is not my favorite thing that they have done. So, yeah. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and click that bell notification so you don't miss out on when I post. So, all that's left to say is, bye-bye.